Welcome to Walking in Circles, a podcast about friendship, creativity, and the lifelong journey of becoming.
For more than 15 years, our group has gathered weekly to play, reflect, laugh, and share life. This season, 5 of us are on a creative pilgrimage, working through Julia Cameron's book, Walking in This World.
Each week, we explore what's bubbling up in our art, in our hearts, and our lives, as we rediscover the creative pulse within and around us.
I'm Chris.
I'm Cameron, and we'd like to invite you to listen in and continue the conversation. Walk with us as we keep learning what it means to be alive, awake, and connected.
Welcome to week 8 of Walking in This World, or at least our journey through it.
That's funny.
If anyone out there is keeping track, you'll notice that Seth was here last week. Adam is back this week. Adam was gone the week before. They're taking turns. And yes, they did have a fight.
Mm-hmm. I can't.
Do you want to speak to that, Adam?
I can't be or look at Seth anymore, so it's just, I think it's best that we alternate weeks.
Did you say you can't be or look at Seth?
I can't be with or look at Seth.
Oh, got it.
Gets too horny.
It's true.
Yeah. Well,
you're
I
lucky this
understand
camera
the
is only up
precautions.
here.
Zooming in. Okay, so do you want to do a flyby of this week, or how do we want to jump into all this stuff? I will say that it started really slow for me. Oh, Adam, you missed the week that Brett liked.
Mm. Please, could you recap if it wouldn't take too long?
Easy does it. That hits me where I live.
That's it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Easy does it,
He had
but
a
do
lot,
it. Isn't
actually.
that-
Easy
But
does it, but do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah. Take it easy, but
Easy
keep going.
does it. As she clarified in this chapter, easy doesn't meaning easy accomplishes it. Easy does it.
Yes.
I think that's what often true.
Yeah, that is true.
Wait, sorry, unpack that a little bit more, because I'm trying to remember what was talked about in that week.
Yeah, so I think she was basically saying, as a brief recap, that oftentimes if we get all log jammed, it's not because we don't have any good ideas or any creative inspiration, and we often have too much, and so things get kind of clogged up, constipated.
Gotcha.
My words, not
remembering
hers.
now. I
Yeah.
remember that now. Yeah.
So letting a little bit out and just finding a way to not try to do it all at once. Don't try to rush it out the door. Just do a little bit and keep it moving. Easy does it. I like that because I have a feeling of. I always try to resist a feeling of drivenness. I don't want to feel driven in my life. I want to feel maybe led, but mostly just let myself float down float the river a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And I always sort of have to actively resist feeling. I want to push out all the ideas. I want to do all the things. I want to, so.
It's his kink.
Maybe.
A little bit.
Mm-hmm.
You want to do
related to
it. Yeah. You want to
Yeah.
do it well and do it hard. Do it.
Yeah.
Do it.
And never stop.
Sometimes.
Chase all the things. Do all the things. So and there was more to it than that I like too. She also talked about the strobe effect of how sometimes, you remember this one? She talked about how a breakthrough often feels like a breakdown. Because when you find out something about yourself or somebody else or your life, it can be jolting if it's not what you thought. So it can be disrupting in this way that's
Yeah.
oh my God. Oh my God.
Overstimulating.
Yeah. So we talked about that quite a lot. And then the strobe effect, she was saying, sometimes you get a glimpse of a revelation that's just a glimpse. And it doesn't have continuity between what you felt like or thought of before and when you kind of have realization. You kind of just get a did I say glimpse enough times?
A flash bulb moment.
Yeah, that's what I remember. So that's a recap for you.
Okay.
Does that remember? You remember reading that chapter?
Yeah, it's jogging now. I think my one main takeaway from it was, she said, yeah, if you have too many ideas, you're overflowing with creativity, you get analysis paralysis or whatever. I don't know if she said those words exactly, but you have too much, and so you just don't do anything. And I definitely resonate with that.
Yeah. And then I think some of the tasks were about doing lots of small things again. Mm-hmm. Just keeping the flow happening, letting things flow so you don't get stopped up. You're not flooding.
Just take a little bit of warm Vaseline and just kind of, around the edge so that things keep going.
That was good technique.
I And so for anyone listening, they're making these nice little gestures. They're not obscene.
No, I think they were.
No.
We don't even know what we're gesturing.
Friendly little
exactly.
gestures, circles with.
Ambiguous little gestures.
Can't describe it. There's no way to describe it. It doesn't become obscene.
Imagine you had
With
a finger with a sphincter, and you were sort of like, gently caressing
swabbing,
around.
swabbing.
Gently but it's not a sphincter. That's just just a word picture. For
There's lots of sphincters. They're not just body sphincters.
Oh yeah, it's like not
Like a-
non-specific, non-body sphincter, maybe.
Like the sphincter of a robot. Okay.
Yeah.
This week, how did it connect to this week? You said she kind of clarified it a bit this week. But
Well,
I
she
don't-
just called back one time. I don't think it was really a topical
Okay.
connection.
I'm trying to remember exactly how this week started because I was a little bit like, I'm not getting that.
Oh.
But then it started clicking, and I made myself little illustrations when I was writing, and a big sign that said "Keep off the grass." We need to make signs. Anybody hear that part of it? Keep
Yeah.
off the grass.
Yeah.
And I think she was really talking about how to be generous, but she was saying maybe ways that are not good to be generous. Like they're not actually generous. So the intention is to be generous, but it's not a good thing, and you overextend, and you're letting in voices again. And then an example of how is a good way to be generous. There was an example at the beginning about a man who helped with his child's community music program or some such thing, and he was of service. Instead of serving fame or notoriety or prowess or whatever the thing is.
Yeah.
This is very different. Like, you guys talk. Is it the grass? Like, keep off the grass. A metaphor she used.
Yeah, she was saying we're like crabgrass. Artists like crabgrass.
Oh.
They're very hardy but easy to walk on.
I got you. Okay, I just read that. Okay, got it. Now I'm tracking. I did not get the reference when you said it the first time.
Grass,
Brought it
man.
back.
I thought this was kind of interesting because I felt like it was one that I didn't relate to. Shocker. But it was like interesting to hear. That's what it must be like to somebody who's like had success in art. Because that's not like the art or like anything like that. It's not something I've ever endeavored to like have success at, or maybe I've just never been successful at it in a way that she's talking about. It almost sounds like this is for career artists almost. Like you get famous. She's talking about fame and notoriety and great success and what you should do in that circumstance and what that's going to be like for you. And I think that's very interesting to hear someone talk about who's had that.
Yes.
Yeah.
But she's also saying don't let it choke out the thing that you love to do because you get busy doing 100 other things. So you maybe in your business that you this offer, and you think, okay, I'll try it. People say that this might be a good idea. I try this, and none of it really pans out for you. And then all of a sudden you find that yourself overextended, so your inflow is out of
Yeah, that's
balance
true.
again. And then also you find yourself spending time on the tasks you don't like. For example, I remember a company that you used to work with that's adjacent to what you're doing now, but you didn't get to spend like the amount of time
Yep.
you got to spend on the thing you liked versus the
Yep.
administration and those other kind of things.
Yeah.
I think that's what
You're
this
right.
chapter is about.
You're right. I think that I was slow. Like you said, maybe it took me a while to get there from that because it was sort of couched from the context of
Art.
once you get
Professional art.
once you get successful,
Yeah.
don't get distracted by X, Y, or Z. So I was like, oh, we're thinking about if we were theoretically successful.
Yeah.
But
Well-
yeah, it's true. Even if you're not like, because you're saying that don't get distracted by like this guy. Because her example is like the guy now has a lot of money and a lot of like time and like notoriety, and then he squandered his money and his notoriety, and then he realized, oh, that's not. I should be making art for making art, not to make it. I think that was like
Yeah.
her catchphrase.
Yeah.
And so I just think, oh, that's interesting for someone who's trying to make it by doing art, but I've never been that person. So I kind of like was looking at it as though I wasn't in the story at that point. But now what you're saying makes sense because it's still true. If you redefine like
What success is.
yeah, what success is for someone who's not a professional artist, it's not going to be like becoming famous for my art as an artist,
Right.
but it's going to be some other like
Yeah.
interpretation that's still true, where you need to like respect, like do the things that she said, avoid the wet blanket matador and the what were the other ones she said? I like that she got kind of playful
yeah,
with
there's
the
a lot of
persona.
There were several.
There's the
VIP.
amateur,
VIP
amateur expert.
and,
Yes.
and their cousin.
The malaria mosquito one.
The-
I can't remember what that was called.
There's a monster or something. Oh no, maybe that was one of the
Too far.
tasks.
Very serious person.
Yeah.
I totally resonate with all of those. I've
The
met
archetypes?
and maybe even at some point been at
Been.
risk of being.
Yeah.
Well, some of those, yeah.
Yeah. I
It's-
think, thinking about how to translate the success in that way. Go ahead. You're going to read the types?
Yeah. It's the first one. What's the first one? I didn't have that. Wet
Wet-
blanket matador.
Mhm.
Then it's the amateur expert, the very important people, and the very serious people. And then I think the last one was, where is it? The fairy, the downer. What
So
that
it
one
was something
called?
Something about fairy.
Bad news fairy.
Bad news
Fairy.
fairy. Oh, that's my favorite one
I like that
actually.
one, yeah.
Like I have a couple of those.
Oh
I know
yeah,
that.
those aren't really. Nobody's really getting those anymore. Nobody really likes that anymore.
Uh,
So and
as
so
they
the pedophile used to do that, and so people think
yeah,
that's
right.
uncool.
They're Debbie Downers
Yeah.
in SNL. films.
Mhm.
Wah, wah.
Yeah, the translation of the success. I think one thing, maybe it's in the context of what she was talking about, being of service to others. Maybe success is when you've had success being of service to someone,
Yeah.
and then everyone wants to
Sure.
co-op your time
Yeah.
and
Or I want to
energy,
just do
right?
that.
Or you think, well, that maybe that's a good idea. Maybe that's what I
Would
should
that
do
be cool?
next.
Would that be cool? Would that be
Mhm.
cool? Or
Yeah.
yeah. And she's saying that actually things that she knew she had misgivings about what she did anyway.
Yeah. So that was actually probably my favorite quote of this for me. If I was doing this living school style where you stop when you get to the thing that you need to sit with, the quote that I wrote down was, every time you are, quote, generous against your better judgment, you end up embarrassed. And I feel like, yeah. I mean, it's something I know, it's true, but it's like, what is the story? Sometimes I get myself overextended. I used to write myself a post-it note. I had it on my mirror for a long time that said, do not overextend. It's not do not extend. It's not do not overextend. You know, overextension is like this concept in my head of being out of balance, where I'm leaning too far, trying to reach something that I don't have my footing underneath of me. And so sometimes when we intend to be generous, or intimate relationships compel us to be because there are kids or there are whatever, our parents, our spouses, our good friends, whatever the things are, we intend to be generous to people, which is a good trait. But then because of that intention to be generous, we overextend. And then anytime you have a little bit of judgment, like, I can't really do this right now, and then for me, it's probably an ego in the mix or something saying you want to be perceived as being generous, or you don't want to not be generous, and so do the thing, and it just a little bit beyond what you have capacity to do. And I liked that she ended up by saying you end up being embarrassed, because I think, yeah, it is embarrassing. It's like, oh, I don't have the bandwidth to do that. I couldn't follow through and do that well. I don't know why I said I would. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I didn't. It wasn't
You're
better for
check,
you
go
for me to
bouncy,
say yes
bouncy.
when I couldn't. Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
As partially, she mentions in, I think, the second part, and I think this is what we're talking about doing those things and getting sucked into people with more enthusiasm than you, or like they're over enthusiastic, under experienced, and so they say, oh, you should do this thing because
Oh.
I know. I think one of the examples she uses, I know a lot of singers, and worked with them, so you should do this. And the question is, lots, like how many?
Yeah.
Like, do you really?
Yeah.
Um,
Facts versus hype.
Right.
Oh, sure.
Yep.
How many have you
So-
done? I have done 5 world tours versus I
Yeah.
have lots of experience with people.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
What is your experience
So,
watching
yeah.
them on Netflix? I watch lots of these kinds of people.
Perfect. It's like it's velocity and vulnerability. So like the faster you go, the less aware you are, and like
Yeah.
because some people are going fast, and if you let them catch you up into that, they may not have enough resources.
I think she said that a few times in a few different ways, and that was helpful.
Yeah.
That sometimes velocity is sort of I don't know if it's the villain, but it's the anti-hero or it's something. Because it's just the speed by which you can capture anything. So she talked about the difference 0 to 50 in a few seconds, and when you're walking down the street, we were just talking with Seth about this when we were walking downtown, and I just encouraged them to walk the avenues. We were in that conversation, and they did, and all of a sudden you notice all this architecture, all these homes you'd never seen.
Yep.
You've driven it hundreds of times because your speed is different, because you're walking at 3-4 miles per hour instead of driving by at a rapid 25 miles per hour.
Yeah.
But every increment is a different thing.
Yeah.
I think it's.
Yeah, definitely.
She also said velocity.
Velocity
It
creates
was a little bit
vulnerability for an artist. That's her key.
Veracity is
Tough.
Oh yeah, so you make yourself vulnerable, and I
Yeah.
at first that was a little confusing because there's a lot of talk, a lot of Brene Brown, and people who are really saying that appropriate vulnerability is a strength, and that's not where she was going with vulnerability here.
Yeah.
She was saying it as a weakness,
A
as an
she's saying
exposure. You're
liability.
opening yourself up
Yep.
to something. Yeah, you're exposing yourself to whatever.
She also said porosity. Is that what you were?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Porosity creates porosity. So the idea that things penetrate. If you're going too fast, it opens up those openings and like pores and things penetrate. And I think that's true too. You know, if you're,
Yep.
I'm on to the next thing, and then one of those people, the people who need your help and whatever, catches you at the right time, and you're halfway between. You don't have the ability to think it through. So it's just like, okay, yeah, just to, you can agree to things, just to like regroup yourself, and then it opens you up to things that you didn't intend to be open to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe not you.
I
Do
like
you find that to be true? If you're going too fast, that you get overextend? Because I know you have a better general balance.
Well, I don't know. It's interesting because I was trying to understand if that's true for me or not. I think the result is true, but the way it happens for me doesn't unfold like that. Usually for me, I'm trying to understand like what it does. Usually, if I've been what now? No, people do tend to ask a lot of me. I think. I don't know if that's true. I don't feel that, but it's definitely like people always ask you to do stuff. They always ask you for favors. That like you're a helpful and useful person. People are always asking. I don't usually feel overextended, so I think that I must just naturally be like not overly available. When I find myself to be overextended, it's not because someone has enticed me to overextend myself. It's usually me overextending myself for some internal reason.
You've said yes to too many things because you have the interest, but it's still the same thing, I suppose.
Yeah.
It's still the velocity.
Yep.
Needing to slow down. And there was some quote, I don't remember who said it, it wasn't her, on the sidebar that said something about the slower we move, the slower thoughts come, and the better the quality of them.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. So I have those people, but they are on the inside of me, not on the outside. I think she kind of framed it all as like people externally, maybe. But
Right.
I don't have it so much externally, but
You
I
know,
certainly have it internally.
and that's a really good point. All those same people that you just mentioned are all voices that we have inside of us as well. They're interior voices. That we
Yeah,
need
definitely.
To, like, quiet. And sometimes they're the loudest. And for me, as a person who always thinks I'm reading the room, I populate another 150 internal voices that aren't even actually there. People don't care, aren't paying that much attention. So, Adam, I'm just thinking about you as a person who moves at snail's pace all the time.
Yeah.
Do you resonate with any of this? Or do you ever feel like you're going too fast and you need to slow down? What do you feel about your pace and how it affects, I guess, what you're open and available to?
Yeah, I feel like I self-regulate pretty good, but not in the way of not in a good way necessarily. Like I crash, but not hard. So like I move quickly and then I stop quickly, because I realize I'm moving too quickly. But
Slam on the brakes.
yeah, I kind of liken it to ice skating. When I ice skate, I can skate really well. I don't know how to stop, so I just run into the side and catch myself. So that's how I go. I can pick up speed, and then I'm like, when I stop, it's just boom, and then I'm like, okay, let's pick it up again, and then I get back to going, and then I stop. But I do think the thing that stood out to me listening to these personas is I feel like I have probably been that to other people. So that was the part that resonated with me the most, like especially the I forget what you said, but like the one who like has lots of ideas and like wants to keep pushing. And I've probably done that with you guys where I'm like you'll have an idea for something you're doing. I'm like, "Oh, you could do this, because I'm just like excited about it. And it's probably not the most helpful thing because it's like, okay, yeah, we could do that. We could do a million things, but also just someone bringing a suggestion to something is not very helpful unless they can assist with it in some way. Just the idea itself. Like we can all sit here and just be a think tank and come up with crazy ideas, but someone has to actually execute. And so if you don't have the abilities to help with the execution, then the idea isn't really worth too much.
Yeah.
But
I would call that the creative spammer.
yeah,
Something like that.
yeah,
For sure.
I don't. Yeah. It's just like it's too much over the top or overflow, and that's like sometimes that's honestly good to have those because it'll create some sort of a rabbit trail in my mind that I'll be like, oh, this is a good idea, or it makes me think of 3 other ideas that I want to incorporate, and so I personally don't feel overwhelmed by that, probably because my brain's always populating a bunch of ideas anyway. But I can see, yeah, sometimes there's a point in in engineering and where there are too many ideas, and you have to like. There's a timeline for a reason, because we say that a project would never get done unless there's a deadline, because
Yeah.
we just keep innovating, keep making better, keep trying to fix the problem or make
Yeah.
new things, and
Nothing lands it. It
Yeah.
all goes higher and higher, but
Right.
sometime we have to land.
we have to get it going. Yeah. So
Yeah.
That's so interesting. I felt a little bit like I think what you're saying, Adam, is I've been that person too at points. Or one of those, probably most of those personas at one time or another.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's a very common thing for someone to do out of ego. And I felt almost guilt as she was explaining. I was like, oh God, oh no, I hope I haven't done that to somebody. I'm sure I have done it to somebody. I'm wondering if did you guys have any like relationship to that description? Like, did you feel like you've done that? 'Cause Adam said that he sort of thought, oh, maybe that was me, and I said, oh, maybe that was me at times. Did you?
I didn't, but I read
That's
it
fine.
30 minutes ago.
So did I.
I've never been any of those.
Okay.
I'm just kidding. No, I mean, I think so. Back to what you were saying, Adam. I don't experience. Okay, there are 2 things you said. The second thing you said, I think, is right. That sometimes we have enough ideas, but we need some help generating the action. And so I think you said something like that. At some point, there's a saturation point in which I don't need to hear more ideas, but I need someone who will co-act with me on something, or we can begin something. I need some movement, and that's what an idea needs. So I think that's right. I think that's something for us all for me to be attentive to also. But I think there's a difference, and I have not experienced that from you. When you give ideas, I generally like them, and they're helpful. And I think part of a difference is what I was just going to with your question. I think it's ownership. So one of my illustrations I drew is a Calvin and Hobbes box. Did any of you read Calvin and Hobbes?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I see nodding. You did
Yes.
too. Okay. So he had this transmogrifier box. I don't know what it was. It was a cardboard box, and he would put things into it, and they would come out other things because his imagination made everything alive, and that was the thing. And I called it, and mine is the creative absorber and transmogrifier XP1000. And it's just this idea. It was the first person he was describing, someone who absorbs my energy. He was saying someone who takes it for themselves, I think. And he
The
had a name for that one.
piggybacker.
The
Piggyback.
piggybacker.
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't mention that. I knew there was one that was.
Yeah, I was going to mention it. The piggybacker is often that person who has an idea that they want you to do something, that they're trying to take over your creative energy or your time. It's more time. It's she's another phrase. It's too much trouble, or time is not worth the trouble. Something like that. But they come with more energy than you have for it.
Yeah.
And
Or they redirect you away from it with their
Right.
energy, or there's lots of different
What you're
versions of
trying
it.
to
And it's like, I don't have a clear picture of someone who's done that to me, but I have people in my lives who like my energy and they want to absorb it for themselves. And it's like they take it into the box, and then out comes this totally different thing. And I'm like, and they're like, thank you for this thing you gave me. Or they're like, now help me with this thing
That we are doing.
And I'm like, no.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about that. And I think there's a fine line, having been a coach and a teacher and a bunch of these things, of like taking someone who maybe lower level skills, say when I was an English teacher and I was teaching a lot of writing, and you want to coach them into something different from being also a transmogrifier, where I'm like making something different. I want it still to be their voice and their thing, but there's a fine line. And I'm surely on those lines, you cross back and forth between them.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
I think that's maybe what I was
that was too much.
going toward, because I feel like maybe when the ego creeps in, it would be easy to be like, I'm saying this to feel important, or saying this to whatever. But like, there is something super valuable about having someone you can trust who can say a different version, like a more pure version of all the things those people are saying
Yeah.
at the right time.
Yes.
So like Adam, for example, I've never thought of you. I don't think that you actually fit that, even if you like, maybe you're afraid that you do. I was just thinking about when we did that brief little demo of the game. What was that called? We just did that brief little like challenge game. I did like the card.
Oh, the cards that you helped me with. I was just thinking about that the other day, by the way.
Yeah.
I was like,
And
damn,
so, like, that was a
I
fun
left
little-
that on the shelf.
Yeah, well, it was like you had an
Yeah.
idea. I thought that was a fun idea, and I jumped in. Like I wanted to do it. You didn't like say like, hey, I don't remember if you approached me or not, but that's the sort of thing. I'm like, that sounds cool. I want to try it. And so, whether or not I had time to do that, I did it because I wanted to. And I don't think that. And it was kind of exciting and a fun little thing, even if it doesn't come to anything, or even if it does. That's the sort of idea I think that you always are bringing. Unlike the spammer who's bringing like an untenable number of things
Yeah.
to the point where they become a
Just
distraction.
vomiting
And
stuff on you.
sporadic.
Yeah,
exactly.
This isn't like that. This is like interesting ideas from time to time that someone could take or leave. It's not like overriding
Right.
or like overflowing. You know what I'm saying? And so I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
that's actually a very valuable contribution, to a group.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Can I try a metaphor out? When you guys are talking, I was searching for a way to. Well, I'm thinking things come to mind, and what I'm thinking, why I want to say this is I wouldn't want you to back down from that either, Adam, because I think we really need it. So it's sort of like this idea of the concept of the cutting edge is really been a what is it? It's a phrase that's resonated with me for about 18 years. And be the cutting edge of something, and sort of a calling to be at the cutting edge. And I think what the cutting edge means is like it is a fine line, but a really good cutting edge, if you would take the metaphor of a knife, is like if it's sharp, it does something, it pierces exactly where it's supposed to. It's like in a scalpel in a doctor's hand,
Yeah.
a good knife in a chef's hand. It's making things, it's creating by cutting. And it pierces through things. And in contrast, like a machete that's dull would just hack something to death. And we can do that with ideas, I think. If you have like a piercing, so as long as we stay sharp with it, it's like if you can give the right thing, not too much, not too little. And that takes practice. And sometimes it gets a little dull, and sometimes we over sharpen or over correct or over pierce. But if we can give the right thing at the right time, it can like feed and help and support creative ideas. And if not, we can bludgeon it to death, or we can make it bleed out if it's something that needs, to live. But does that make sense? I'm not developing the metaphor very clearly, but I think it's like I want people around me who are going to be sharp, and so they're not going to be that person who's just bludgeoning things, blah 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 blah, the blah blah blah. She literally wrote blah 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 for one of them in the dialogue. But also, they're not going to be so piercing that it like you feel like wounded from the thing. And there's like a cutting edge. It's like a fine line. It's a very important part for almost any setting.
Yeah. I think that's so true. I don't know how other people learn this, but I think for me, one of the most important fields play to develop the skill was in just being married. Is that you learn that what is the time right now for what I'm supposed to do. So like when I think about this in terms like friendship or whatever, like sometimes it's not the time to squash energy. Sometimes it's the time to meet energy. Like there's like, someone's excited about it or whatever. Now's not the time to say, oh, but did you think about this? Do you think about that? Like that's not the fucking time. It's like get on board and be with the person and like really help. Sometimes.
Yeah.
But that's not all of the time. Sometimes the person needs you or is asking you to or isn't asking you to but needs you to say, not to shoot the whole thing down. I think it can be really cool, but like there's there's a thing about like what about this part maybe, or it could be like is there maybe a transformation of this idea that could like account for these things and to have some sort of like helpful critical voice, like a constructively critical voice, and knowing when's the right time for both is an art. I think it's like a skill you have to learn and practice, and you have to do it in sort of a safe-ish relationship where people. I think generally relationally you have to get to a certain level of relationship with a person before you're ever invited to give them any critical like advice. If you're the person in the book here, you are she says pointedly uninvited largely.
Sure.
If you're offering, I find that if you're offering something without it being invited, it doesn't even matter if it's good or not. It's never going to come out good. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
Yes, I think there's a delivery, and distinctive relationships have different
Yeah.
sort of ranges from the start. Some
Yeah.
cannot handle like anything, and some can handle a lot like right away.
Yeah.
Criticism.
And it depends on the subject matter, and depends on the baggage of relationship. And I don't. And when I say invitation or invited, I don't mean like overt invitation. Like I invite you to tell me critical things about
Yeah.
my ideas.
Like
It's
the relationship
Yeah,
invites it.
it's an open. Like you've got a culture and relationship to say like I know that I trust you. So if you think that there's something that I should hear for my own good, I would like you to
Yeah.
say it to me.
Sure, and finding the right time to do that.
Of course,
That's what you're saying.
in a gentle, useful way, if possible. And of course, there's like a buffer of grace and like patience we have. So like, if you fuck up and do that a little bit wrong, and I can manage to eat that, I'm gonna do that. And if you know,
Yeah.
if I'm short on patience and I don't take it the way I should, then you're gonna eat that. And if neither of us have the budget that we need to do that graciously, we're gonna have a little fight, and then later it's gonna be fine. You know what I mean?
Sometimes
Yeah.
the fight is what's needed too.
Yeah.
It just depends on the relationship.
Yeah.
It reminds me of, I think, of each relationship of the French idea. I think the French context for the word flirt is not like the American context. It's the dancing around. It's like we're going to dance around each other and see what this, or dance around this way. What is this working? That's not working so much. Okay, going to take this step this way. It is. Or in theological terms, the same term as perichoresis. It's the
Perichoresis, I knew it
move
was
thing
coming.
you knew it was coming.
Yeah.
But I actually really liked the dialogue about the French word, where French are like, we don't get what you Americans think about flirting. Like, you think that flirt always ends in consummation. Like, it's towards consummation of some kind that you're going to try and, and so therefore it's super dangerous because it either is going to lead somebody on, or it's about cheating, or it's about all these things that are negative. And for us, flirting is like a way of exploring self in the other.
Yeah.
And it's like, what's happening here? And you're looking at the thing, and you're dancing, and you're moving around. And I feel like that back and forth is the thing that is, it's a little clumsy and it's a little graceful at the same time. It's a little beautiful, and it's a little bit like, I don't know what the heck I'm doing.
Odd.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
a little.
It's exploratory.
Yeah, it's off the beaten track.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is where we pause, and I'm going to play some music, and Adam, you can do some interpretive dance and kind of illustrate this for
Okay.
everyone.
Let's see it.
I'm going to do it from sitting down, just with the hands. I don't hear any
Cameron
I
music.
can't even see your.
Cameron, you have to narrate for any audio listeners.
I can't see
Yeah.
it. That's a problem.
You can't see his
It's
hands.
too.
It's too
portrait mode.
narrow because
Yeah.
of.
Oh,
I
you
can
do the
see your
dancing in
hand.
a
I
smaller
can see
frame.
your hand.
Just
do it right in front of
Yeah.
your
Right in
face.
front of your-
yeah.
He sips his cup and
Yeah.
draws the flame from his mouth.
I do have to get it draws the flame from his.
Yeah, this is
It's like
Oh, I like that
biblical.
interpretation. I like this. It's
Oh.
poetic already.
That's what you're doing.
I'm
Good
such
job.
a genius.
So good.
You're
You guys are my wet blanket mirror. No, just kidding.
Well, okay, so there's this other thing too. I hate the idea of someone condescendingly being like, "Oh, that sounds great," about ideas that aren't like great.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just that tone.
Yeah.
No matter. It's just like why do you need to say that?
Yeah.
Because you're not saying what your words are saying, and you're not saying what you want to say.
It's not honest. I think that's the main
Yeah.
thing. It doesn't feel honest to what you're asking them to do or say. You're not asking them to be honest, and they're not being honest. That just never feels like the right way to me.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I don't know. I'm kind of a little bit conflicted by, like, it seems like a huge gray area. Obviously, she's using like a almost like a cartoonish persona to demonstrate the idea she's talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But like the real thing is kind of like a gradient in, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. I think
Life is always a gradient. isn't
Yeah.
it?
It's true. Yeah, it's finding. It's interesting to me. I find the ones that I can maybe recognize the easiest are the VIPs and the VSPs, very important people or very serious people. Like,
Yeah.
you should be doing this because, or you should know this, or get in touch with this person, or like this person will make you a person
Yeah.
Yeah.
of whatever
Worth.
yeah, and it's just like that's the whole, not the point. You like don't get it, and even like the very serious people. I'm not about the artist or whatever. I like art. I'm like, what the fuck does that mean? That means something different for every person. It's literally and meant to be, like, what is that word that I can't think of? Just about each person's perception.
Subjective.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
So if you're just pooping on my idea, just because you want to poop on my idea, not because it has anything to do with my quality of work for me or for other people. It's just your experience with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's more about them than it is about you.
Right.
That's the thing. Is that from the Four Agreements or whatever that stuff always talks about, which I've
Yeah.
never read, but it's so good. It's like it generally is more about them than it is about you, and I hate that. I react to that. You won't be shocked to hear, especially VIP, like explosively, and it's almost to the point of like reverse psychology.
Sure.
And I don't like that. Like that's sort of like the opposite of my MO.
because
generally.
that's also unbalanced for you.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're not censoring
I don't
yourself.
I don't want that
You
person
react
to
so
dictate
strong.
anything to me. But I remember I have two stories that came to my mind when we were reading this. One is I remember in high school I did the waterfowl conservation art competition. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, the duck stamp competition. You would paint an entry that could be used as a duck stamp, and then you send it in, and it gets judged, and then the winner for Nebraska becomes like the conservation stamp that they have to buy to hunt, right? Anyway, I won that like a bunch of years. In my senior year, and I did that with my grandfather, and it was a very like important thing to him, and it became like in retrospect it was a very important thing to me too. But anyway, my senior year I did some swans that were, I got a little more artistic with it. They're usually pretty like the stamp ends up being printed like this big, like everybody can't see. It's like slightly larger than a postal stamp, so you can't get like artistic with it. Like it needs to read as like a duck, whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, senior year I got a little artistic with it. I got two swans standing in like rays of sun in the shallow water, and the light is coming in behind the swans, like sort of
And they're like
illuminating their
mimicking each
spread
other.
wings.
Yeah.
They're doing
They're
like a
fighting.
courting
There's
dance.
blood.
They have a machete.
Little artistic
machete in
with
there.
it.
They're hunting each
It-
other.
They're hunting each other. They're hunting a man.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's a warning to all hunters. No, it was like pretty good. I didn't spend a ton of time on it, and I wasn't like a serious painter. I did it like once a year, basically. And I had some art training. We talked about that before, but not to say it was good or bad. It was as good as I wanted to do, and as seriously as I wanted to take it. And I think a lot of people thought the result was good, and I won. But I just remember a conversation. A famous wildlife artist called the school while I was there to talk to me, to congratulate me, air quotes, congratulate me.
Oh.
I never forget what he said. I don't even remember his name. Probably I forgot it on purpose. He said to me, I saw your art or your piece. It's actually pretty good. If you work at it, you could be good. If you really work hard, you could be good. You could be a good artist. And I was like, okay, thanks, bye. And I literally think I hung up on him. I was like, thank you for that, bye. And I just hung up. And I just remember like how like zero welcome, negative 100 that welcome that like is. What are you saying?
Yeah.
First of all, like, why are you calling a high school kid and saying like you could be good theoretically? What are you trying to like light a fire under my butt or something? Who are you? Why are you talking to
I
me?
mean, he's wanting again. The response is
Oh.
about him, not you. He's like, "Oh, who could I? Will you help me?
Could you tell me how to
coach
be good like you? Fuck off. Like, seriously. And especially if it's like something like, I'm not even really trying. There's an ego thing too in there. Like, well, I'm not even
Sure,
really
sure.
trying. Like, if I tried, like,
I could do even
blah,
better.
blah, blah. But it's like, I don't even want to think about that. So that's one. I just remember that coming to my mind. So like, that is an example of almost like a VIP or something.
Yeah.
Like, get out of here. And I would say that I don't think I had any aspirations to be like a serious like painter anyway. I don't know if that made a long-lasting, large effect on my life or not, but if I had been aspiring, it definitely would have influenced me. It would have turned me off to it a lot.
Yeah.
And then I remember I used to write some guitar music in high school quite frequently, and I recorded some stuff. And for the age I was at, it was pretty good. Like, it wasn't terrible. It wasn't like, I wasn't excellent, but it wasn't like super bad, I think. And I remember playing it for some people, and people who knew me really liked it. It was like that kind of thing, And I remember playing it at Shrinemont. And do you remember? I don't remember his name. He's a nice guy. I have nothing against him. He's like a music leader guy. What's his name? What is his name? Do you know who I'm talking about?
I mean,
Ron.
Oh yeah, Ron Hendricks.
Ron Hendricks. He's a super nice
Love
guy.
him.
Like, yeah,
He's a great
absolutely
guy.
love him.
But sometimes we just don't keep track of our words or how they're landing.
And
Yeah.
he's sort of like a music guy. I think he kind of. I was listening to him talk because people I knew that I liked were saying how much he was awesome. And so when I first met him, I was like paying attention to him a lot, just like see what he was like and see what he was saying. And you know, sometimes you get caught up in like people think I'm a music person, I'm like the music guy, and so and I think it might have been speaking too. It's always a trap too, because you're like you're seen as like you're trying like everyone
You're
gives you
in
this
a role
persona
of
of like
importance. I have an outsized voice.
you're
to
coming
speak.
in because you're like special
The
in the special
speaker,
way, and like
the
part of your
conference.
identity is now that you're like a music like I don't
Sure.
even know music guy. I think he led music at a fairly large church and stuff too. Like wasn't like amateurish. I think he was like a very good musician. But anyway, he was like embodying this persona. I wasn't 0% trying to impress him or like do anything like that. I remember I was playing it for a couple of my friends at the camp, and he was in the room. That's fine. Like what I didn't distrust him to the point where like didn't want him to hear it. Like it's fine if he hears it. I just remember him saying, uninvited after I said it, I played the song that I had written about Steph, and I liked the song. I think it's pretty good. And then he said, "Oh, wow, that's actually pretty good." And I thought that, in that moment, I was like, "Oh, geez, I'm feeling a lot of feelings now. All of a sudden, A, I didn't ask you, so anybody who just like volunteers shit like that, I just don't like that on principle. B, it means something to me actually for some reason that you said that it's pretty good. Like you're saying, oh, you wanted to pipe up and say
the whole
that
thing in your mind, some direction,
and then
you don't
also
have
like you can
control
leave
of it
off the actually, okay, leave the actually out.
Yeah,
because that means you like
I'm
didn't
dying to acknowledge that someone else.
Yeah, like contrary to my expectations or to like whatever, like blah blah blah. You know, just leave that out. There's like so many things about that all at the same time, like unwelcome. The whole thing, unwelcome.
Yeah,
Even if you just said it differently, like, I really like that, or I really appreciate that. Anything slightly different than that, and it just feels like more about him wanting to share appreciation with me than it being about him. And I give you my approval. You know,
which you did not ask for.
No, I don't want that.
I bless you now.
I don't know how that actually. I don't know how this is therapy session.
Well, I think this is good.
Yeah.
I wanted to give a counterpoint because you're sharing those two stories made me think of something that, in theory, in the words in an encounter I had, are very, very close to the same thing. It had a totally different feel and effect, and I think it was about the spirit behind it.
Yeah.
I spent a summer at 9 weeks at a camp playing piano because I won some scholarship to it. I won something there. And I felt at this camp, I was like 15 years old. And there were a few people my age, and most people, it was all orchestral instruments. It was all classically trained professors. And they played in orchestra. It was literally playing classical music 8 hours a day and doing theory for 2 hours a day. And my teachers were there from Juilliard. They were there on summer break. And then I had my piano prof was from University of Nebraska-Lincoln, actually. No, she was from Concordia University, I believe. Anyway, all these people there. I had major imposter syndrome. I'm like, how did I get here? There's all these kids. Most of the students there came from Juilliard with their professors because they wanted to study with them also during the summer. And they wanted to be in the Rockies and outside, and they were like hippie, like Juilliard musician, this, and like nothing about that fit with me at all. I just didn't know anything about it. I'm this little farmer kid from western Nebraska who won a little piano scholarship to go attend this thing. I felt like such, I don't know, not an outcast. They were so nice and kind to me, and there were several things that people said to me over that summer that actually really resonated with me, but I felt like such an imposter. I'm like, what the heck am I doing here? I'm like, I was pretty good in my little town at playing the piano. I can play Chopin a little bit, but what am I doing here? I don't have the same dedication. I don't have the same background. I don't have the same skill. I'm not even at the same stage of life. Most of these kids are like 21, 22, 23 years old. And my teacher, I pushed because everybody had to perform. And I had this Chopin piece I was working on while I was there. And I was like 12 pages from getting it. I was supposed to perform on a Thursday, and I'm at my Monday lesson with her. I was like 12 pages from getting it memorized, and she was like, it's okay, you perform, everyone is here to support you, do whatever piece you have, and then we'll kind of identify some spots where you could end that would sort of cap it off. People will know it's the end, and they'll just know it's the thing in progress, and it's just fine. And I was like, not okay with that. When everyone else had been doing all their symphonies, and I did a Poulenc trio with a bassoonist and an oboist. There's like so many things going on there that I was like, I can't not do. So I spent like 6 hours a day for the next 3 days, just trying to memorize, and get it all. And I got through it all. And like, there were probably 3 parts of it I felt really good about. And then the last part was like, the last section was kind of yucky. And then my last page, I was like, I have to end with it, was like, okay again. And then I was done, and everyone gave me a huge round of applause and were super supportive. And I just kind of slunk into a corner and was like, I want to just disappear. Like, I know this was nothing near like what I could or want to do. And I'm so embarrassed. And so many people here, like, what am I doing here? Like, I just felt like such a joke. And my teacher just found me as a little aside, and she didn't make a big deal of it at all. I don't know how she did it, but it was perfect. Because sometimes if people like baby you when you're feeling like that, you're like, okay, I can tell.
Yep.
That you're just like,
your baby.
Yeah, exactly. That you think
Makes you humiliated. And
I'm a little baby who needs like a little hug.
Yeah.
And none of that energy at all. And also, she wasn't just blowing me up. She just pulled me aside and she said, how did she say it? Here's what I remember. Something like this. She just said, Chris, you're quite a player, aren't you? Or you are quite a player, aren't you? That was it. Like, one sentence. She didn't comment on my actual performance at all.
Yeah.
She didn't but enough to acknowledge I did it, and she saw something there that was good, but she wasn't saying it was something it wasn't. She wasn't like, that was perfect.
Yep.
And then at the next lesson, she's like, I was really impressed that you also took the time to really get towards those last 12 pages, even though it wasn't a lot. And I was just like, and it's similar to what you're saying. But it was
the
like not
intention
too
was
much.
completely different.
Too much, yeah, exactly. And she wasn't coming saying, I'm this amazing professor. I'm going to bestow wisdom on you.
Yeah.
She just saw like a little spark of something and was like, I want to speak to it, but not too heavy-handed. And that.
Yeah.
It's so
It's a delicate thing.
so close to the same thing,
Yep.
and it's worlds different. And that probably kept me going in that sphere for the next 6 years when I went on to college and all the other things I did with it. I'm like, she thought I had something that I could do. Even if I never got there. I certainly didn't get there while I was at Rocky Ridge. I got better and better, but I didn't get there. But it was, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking about, they're so close.
Yeah.
And they're in 2 different universes.
You guys are invoking a lot of music-related memories, but like I also had a similar thing with like we did piano while growing up. It was really just my mom's way of having a babysitter for all of us kids for a couple hours as we were at piano lessons. But
just drop all of you off.
Yeah. Oh,
and
yeah.
Come back in 2 hours.
And if everyone has a 45-minute lesson, that's a long time. But anyway, so I did piano for so long, and I felt like when I was young, my skills were above what I should have been, and then it all plateaued, and eventually I'm a below average piano player. But at the time, I was very good, and my sister Teresa did like a talent show called Miss America, but and anyways, she worked with a composer who composed the musical piece she did on piano. Anyways, he came to town, and my mom, because of that connection, had me go. He was doing like one-on-one sessions with people, and I just played piano for fun, and I never really I could never read music, and I never really knew theory. I just knew things that sounded fun and were cool, and like the keys were there, and so I just played. And so I had a piece that I wrote, and I was like, this is really fun, and I like how it sounds. And she's like, oh, you should go to him, and we can refine this or make it a song or something. I was like, okay, that's a good idea. And so I did, and again, he no shade or anything to him, but I think it's an interesting thing, a through line on some of this. But people kind of teach where they're at, not necessarily where you're at. And so I play the piece, and he's like, okay, and so that's in this key, and then so you would do, and I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about anymore. You're beyond anything that I can understand anymore, and also this isn't fun anymore because I don't know anything, and it's getting you're making it math. It used to be art, and now it's science, and so that kind of just killed that, because in my mind, and maybe this is a wrong way of thinking of it, but in my mind I'm like, oh, so you have to think like that to be good at piano, and I don't want to think like that because it's not fun. So I'm just not going to do that anymore, and so I never continued really. So I still play piano in the way that I know how, but I don't read music and I don't know theory, and so I just sit down and do stuff and then I leave. But anyways, all that to say is kind of what I'm hearing with each person, and kind of the through line and what we were talking about before is it kind of it's depend people with an idea of something. It's not ever really about the idea. It's about like where they're at with it. So like you were saying, Brett, in marriage, it's like when do I encourage and when do I maybe be the reality check or something on certain things. It's more about where they are and not actually the idea itself. So it's like am I encouraging the enthusiasm rather than the actual idea, or are they already enthusiastic enough and now they're ready to execute, and let's get some realism in here so we don't take out $100,000 loan that we can't afford or something, like there's like all sorts of things.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, it's more about that, and it's a hard thing to gauge. Like you're saying, what is the relationship between two people? Also, how well does the person read situations? You have to read into like what that person needs. So
Yep.
It's like, can you genuinely participate with this person, with this idea, with this thing? Because if you, it sounds like we all had kind of a wet blanket moment at some point.
I have been too.
Yeah.
As a parent.
Yeah.
That's when those come
Yeah,
out.
for sure.
The
Yeah, exactly.
The imbalance.
You're right.
Yeah. To like genuinely participate with them and see them as having their experience or this idea that they have come to, and knowing how to see them and let them, or like just participate, to come alongside, to be able to enjoy this thing where they're at. And if it needs to be a reality check, it's like, okay, so what does that mean? What are you thinking about? What prompted this? And kind of get more of a fuller story instead of being I hear the dog.
She's signaling it's time for Adam to go.
yeah.
Anyway, but instead of like bringing yourself to the table to like offer as an offering, instead of to be the meal, to participate in the meal. I don't know. I think it's like to commune with somebody rather than to be the communion. Like you're not offering.
Yeah.
I like that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Oh.
That's what I hear. I just think like the participatory part of it is what is missing in a lot of our experiences. Like Chris, for you, your teacher did that, and it's like really recognized you and saw you. That's what you felt like, and you had already some introspection and an idea of what you wanted to do and all these things, and you were seen.
Yeah.
And Brett and Adam, your or the VIPs or whatever, the people who had some knowledge in this area just like tried to give themselves or give a part of themselves to help you, and it's just like, no, that you don't get it. It's that
Oh,
thing.
yeah, they're
you
handing
don't
themselves
understand. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're trying to.
Yeah.
Here's
Exactly.
my body.
It's
Working for
actually
you.
good, or you
Yeah.
should do this because that's the thing. I've had that so many times. It's like, oh, you could use that this way, or like you're totally just like throwing aside what I'm trying to do or what I'm focusing on to like totally distract me. And sometimes that's not always the intention. Like if I have a good idea and I'm thinking about it for a book, but then someone like gives me a suggestion and say, oh, you could actually like build this thing or whatever. I'm like, what? I wasn't even thinking that. You just like totally sidetracked me.
Yeah.
On that. So
Yeah.
sometimes it happens on accident, but
Yeah.
some like the ones on purpose, like you can tell. And I think that's what she's pointing out too, is that you need to be able to, it's the rattlesnake thing. You need to be able to identify these people
Yeah.
to know how to engage them and
First thing
like
is
interact appropriately.
put some distance between you and the snake.
Yeah, it's a snake.
Yeah.
Don't
and
let
also,
it bite you again.
I like her follow up to that. What do we need after that? And
You need awareness.
She gave a whole script. It's like, love me, help me forgive
Oh, yeah.
myself.
You need
it's okay.
Yeah.
There's snakes out there. We all stumble over them.
Yeah.
I think what you were just saying a minute ago reminded me of the quote. She said, another one I wrote down. She said, as artists, we are open in a way that differs from many other people or many people's openness. So we are vulnerable to being caught off guard.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if even we have to say as artists we are, but in art or in anything that we're in focus and flow, in anything that we're passionate about,
Exploration.
maybe
Sure.
we can be open, and that can leave us a little bit vulnerable to being caught off guard. Even doesn't even mean that a person is malevolent or anything, but just I don't know.
Distracted.
It's a
And
state.
That's
it's a
what she
state
talks
of
about.
openness.
Yeah, like the velocity and vulnerability part she was talking about how the same character or whatever is used in Chinese for opportunity and crisis.
Or chaos. Yeah. Crisis. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like
Yep.
we can be dead set on this thing or going towards this thing that we think might be like a great
Yeah.
opportunity, and then it's actually like a cliff, and we just jump right off the edge
and
because
the
we
inverse
can't.
is also true.
Yeah,
We
right.
might think this is a crisis and it's an opportunity
Yeah.
that we
Yeah.
we weren't seeing before.
Yeah. I feel like I don't know about the we as artists thing exactly, but I do think that there is a skill involved. If you're to be a great artist, maybe part of it is understanding what it takes to get the kind of interaction that you're needing. Because I think sometimes, like, if you're looking for feedback from somebody, you need to ask the right person at the right time and be prepared for what you're going to get back. And you can't always know that, obviously, but I was thinking, because, like, one thing I remember learning the hard way when we were first married was I used to think that was like the intention was sufficient. I didn't mean to say that. I wasn't saying that. Like, and Steph would just say, like, it doesn't just matter what you say; it matters how you say it. And I think what she basically saying to me is like, it doesn't just matter what you intended to communicate; you communicated something other than that. And sometimes the fact is that what a person takes away from what you said sometimes isn't what you meant for them to take away from it, or even what you said. They are going to their current emotional state, insecurities, vulnerabilities is going to color what they hear from you or anybody else in a very severe way. So you can only take so much responsibility for that. On the one end, you could say, like, that's not my responsibility. I'm just supposed to say, like, what I believe, and then they need to deal with that shit. Or else you're supposed to be on the other end. You're saying, like, I need to craft everything perfectly so that they take it the correct way. And the truth, in my opinion, is that it has to be a goodwill operation. And if it's not goodwill, everything's out the window. But if it's goodwill, then you're going to try to do your best, and they're going to try to do their best.
Yeah.
And but the fact is that the whole thing is complicated. It is hard to do. It is actually hard to do all that stuff.
Yeah.
And so there has to be a lot of grace, but also it's one of the reasons why things don't go the way we expect them to go a lot of times. It's like
That's right.
it's a hard thing to do.
It is. I don't know what the percentage would be, but I have this sense sometimes, and more on some days than others, that my presence, that as a self, am actually irrelevant to a percentage, 80% of the conversations and interactions I have. People are in their own realm doing their own thing, and it can feel like they're interacting with you, and they're not. They're just working out whatever is in their head or whatever their mind is. I'm sort of obsolete and irrelevant to, like, I didn't need to be here for you to. It doesn't matter that it's me. It doesn't matter that it's like anybody. Yeah, I could put a puppet in this little space.
Yeah.
And you could have like work out whatever you need to work out.
Yeah.
But it's good to have for me, it's helpful to have the awareness of, like, that wasn't.
It's not about me.
It wasn't about me. I wasn't needed for it. Okay, great.
Yeah, some humility in it, and also some, like, I don't know. Your example made me think of something I do to you all the time, using you as a sounding board. But I've had experiences like in school when I'm stuck on a problem and I go ask the teacher, and by the time I get up there and start asking the question, I already have the answer.
You solved it for yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, oh, never mind. I got it. And I don't think I ever had that happen as a teacher, but I would be like, that's cool as a teacher to have that experience, because it's like, great, you felt comfortable enough to approach me on this thing, on this idea, and then you came up with your own solution or the fruition of this idea that you wanted.
Yeah,
just because I was
provided the opportunity. And the environment.
Yeah. It's a valuable thing too. It may be impersonal, but it's an important role that you play in other people's life. Sometimes you say, I need a friend. I don't need Chris. I don't need Cameron. I need a friend, and you're just playing the role of a friend. Kind of. That's fine. Right. In computer programming, there's a very well-known thing called rubber ducking, or having a rubber duck, or having I need a rubber duck.
It's like rubber necking.
Nope, it's not like that.
It's just a test.
The thing is that if you get really stuck on a complicated thing or something you're trying to work through, what you need to do is try to talk to somebody else about it or ask them a question about it, because usually in the formation of the question, you almost always get clarity. And it doesn't even matter. So they say it's rubber ducky because you can keep a rubber duck on your desk, and instead of talking to your pair programmer or your partner or whatever, you can just talk to the rubber duck, because it's the same. You find that if you just explain the problem to the rubber duck, like, here's what I'm seeing, like, I did this and that, and then Oh yeah, okay. And then just the process of communicating to another thing.
Explanation.
It doesn't matter that the
Yeah.
rubber ducky can't hear you and is never going to give you any
Yeah.
advice.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
And it's well known. Like it's a actually functionally useful phenomenon that people use all the time.
I find that so helpful. Something like that helpful in the act of speaking my
Yeah.
thoughts versus just going over it in my head, because I can go over it in my head 100 times in a second and be like, this is the same thing. This is okay. I know where I'm stuck, but like this
Yeah.
makes sense. And actually, when you have to say the words, you have to say the whole sentence out loud and actually make it coherent
Yes,
enough.
that's right.
To
Enough.
be
We
enough.
talked about the gaps last week, but enough. Yeah.
Well,
Try to articulate the void that's spinning around in your head. You're trying to find patterns enough to make a coherent communication. That in order to do that, you take that thing in your head and you're trying and you're doing it. You're like
Yeah.
bringing it down into a thing you can say.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And
100%.
enough, because like when
Enough.
we go back and record or listen to these recordings, we can't piece together a complete
Yeah.
thought and sentence at all.
Self-intense.
Yeah.
But that's okay.
Yeah.
And it's enough to spark the next thing, the next comment, the next question.
Yeah.
it's ki- Sorry.
I was just gonna say, what is the phrase? It's something like, I know what I think when I talk. Or there's something.
I don't
when
know what that phrase is, but I
discuss-
know what you think when you talk, when you say that.
It's something about basically I begin to know what I actually think about something or what my thoughts or what my frame is if I'm talking it out, but I don't remember.
Yeah.
JBP says it. What does he say?
I don't know, but I know
I
what
haven't
you're
listened
saying.
to him for a while, but
Yeah.
it's back in.
It's kind of interesting that this is so off topic, but you just made me think of this when you say that we don't get a complete thought or a full sentence or whatever. The thing is, I do think that we're genuinely still tracking. Everyone who's in this conversation, and probably most people who are listening, if they're paying attention, are tracking, because the communication doesn't contain the meaning. The communication gestures to the meaning, and if the meaning is shared and we both are keyed, if we're all keyed in on it, then you don't need a very precise
language
gesture.
is all symbols anyway.
Yeah. We're all tracking with we're watching we're
Yeah.
like, what is it? We're conceptualizing the real meaning, the real truth, or whatever.
You don't need a solid line to see a picture. You
Dotted
can use
line's
a
fine.
dotted line.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
that was we talked about that last week too, Adam. We're all referencing things, but it is that idea. It's sometimes I think of it when I'm writing. When I'm writing, my job for a period of time, several years, was to teach grammar, and I think it's useful. But when I'm writing, I think of it as the illusion of grammar, because it's like, is a comma or a period here? Is a semicolon? Is there even a stop here, or is the thought continuing?
Yeah.
Is it or is it not? It's an illusion. It helps to organize in some ways. It gestures at something, but if you're stopped by it, if you're locked into it, it kills thoughts and ideas. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
so it is sort of. I don't know if that's the right phrase. That's just how I say it to myself. The
I think that's
illusion of grammar.
perfectly said, and it makes a lot of sense. I think you saying that's really clarifying for me, because honestly, I can see the priority of a very well structured grammar in the language if the highest priority is to communicate precisely. But in a lot of scenarios, that's not the highest priority. It is important to be effective in communication, but sometimes you turn down the precisely knob and you turn up the aesthetic knob, or the more abstract knob, and so it's like it's not important that. I always remember how
Yeah, you just want a good mix.
a good mix on the
Master
audio,
mix.
exactly, on the mix. What you're trying to go for. There's a vibe you're trying to go for. I think that in Western culture, particularly in the United States, where we're an immigrant culture. I think Aaron Myers talks about this. We're a highly explicit. And I don't mean like sexually. I mean like we're a very not between the lines, very overt, articulated, and explicit culture.
Literal.
Partly because people from different places with different cultures and different languages trying to live in the same place, you can't. There's not a lot of shared context that can be between the lines, and so we do really like value overt communication.
And
where-
we're new.
yeah.
We're not centuries.
Yeah.
Like a lot of Asian
And we're not
cultures that
homogenous.
have been in the same place for
Yeah.
thousands of years, and
Yeah.
we have not
Yeah.
even existed.
Exactly.
Yes.
Versus like Japan or some of these, which are the ones she identified as being like way more implied.
Reading the air.
Yeah, it's like almost all the communication is not overt. And so
Right.
like when we go there, we're like, whoa, well, let's go around or whatever, you know? But it's like, I think the same thing happens in English grammar too. It's like, yeah, it doesn't need to be quite so overt. Like we, you know, You can tell like when you get a text message from somebody that you know what they're saying.
Mm-hmm.
Occasionally you don't know what they're saying because they're missing grammar.
Right.
And the grammar is there to
It's
clarify, disambiguate.
It's not a
but-
good mix.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I mean,
not
that's what
really-
poetry is too, versus
exactly.
other things.
100%.
I mean, poetry is the way we give ourselves. It's the place we give ourselves permission
to do that.
to do what language is always doing on some levels, but
Yeah.
we make it explicit enough in
Yeah.
the poetry that
We get the game we're playing, so
implicit.
we're not confused. Yeah, when you read it. Oh, it's
Explicit
poetry.
enough that it's implicit.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's almost like giving guidelines at the beginning, like to orient, and then after that, you don't need to continually give. The
Go
guidelines.
play, just
Yeah.
keep playing, and that's something that even kids have to learn. My kids keep coming back. I'm like, I already told you the rules. Sometimes there's times when it's like, just go play.
Yeah.
You know what? Just go play. Is this right? Am I doing the right thing? Just go play.
Yeah.
Just go play. You're not killing anyone or hurting yourself. Okay.
Yeah.
Doing risky things safely. That's
Yeah.
what I got from one of the things I got
JVP.
from your interview with Steph. Any last thoughts as we wrap up and let Adam? Are you on nights now or days?
Nights.
You're on nights. So as we
Yeah.
let Adam step forward into his morning,
Mm-hmm.
anything we didn't get to? Okay, good. Well, then let it percolate. And may the many little conversations we have foster 100 more whirlwinds and dust bunnies. What is my kids were asking about? Different
Buenas.
types of
Tornado, like dust
tornadoes
devils?
and dust devils,
Yeah,
and all,
dust
they
devil.
had like 7 different names for all
What-
those little different
Twisters.
What's
Fire
it called
devil,
over water?
tornado.
Yeah.
Oh, water spout.
Typhoon.
Water spouts,
Typhoon versus
typhoons,
hurricane.
whatever is sparked for you, whether it be a typhoon or a water spout or a dust devil. Have a wonderful evening. Thanks for joining.
Bye,
Thanks,
Adam.
guys.
See
Bye.
ya, Adam.